A bird launches from a branch, and the branch keeps staring back. Eyes wide, mouth frozen. No explanation, just motion, wrong motion, and feathers doing something they absolutely shouldn't. This is Brazil. Heat hanging in the air, rivers breathing fog, forests stacked in impossible layers, sound everywhere, vision unreliable. Shapes flicker, colors collide, silhouettes hesitate, as if reality is buffering. Birds pass through like unfinished renders, half ancient, half prank. Just shadow, and then detail. Across this land lie birds that look like mistakes the planet decided to keep. Feathers that glow too hard, faces that seem borrowed from reptiles, calls that feel designed to unsettle, not attract. Each one solves survival differently, by intimidation, by illusion, by sheer audacity. Blink once, miss it. Blink twice, and you doubt everything. Because these aren't just odd birds. They bend the rules of recognition. Predators hesitate. Rivals misread signals. Even humans, confident, analytical humans, pause. Something's off, and it matters. In a place where being understood can get you eaten, confusion becomes currency. Beauty becomes camouflage. So here we are, watching color drip through shadow, wings slicing humid air. A final glide, slow, deliberate, unreal. And as these birds reveal themselves, one impossible form at a time, there's only one question left hanging in the canopy. How did this ever work? The hoatzin crashes out of a riverside tree, wings flapping like it forgot the instructions. Leaves shake, water ripples. No elegance, just urgency, and a smell that arrives before the bird does. A warning, immediate. At first glance, it looks unfinished. A mohawk, rusted feathers, eyes set a little too far back. Awkward, distractingly so, like a teenager stuck halfway through a growth spurt. This bird has been called ugly, prehistoric, even wrong, fragment, and somehow it leans into that reputation. Daily life is not glamorous. The hoatzin eats leaves, only leaves, no berries, no insects, just salad, fermented. Inside its chest sits a swollen gut, basically a biological brewery, breaking down plants so slowly that flying becomes a negotiation. Short bursts, heavy landings, fragment. A bird optimized for sitting around and digesting forever. But here's the twist, the part that feels illegal. When hoatzin chicks fall from trees, because of course they do, they don't panic. They swim. Then they climb back up using claws on their wings. Actual claws, like a fossil that missed its extinction memo. Fragment. Baby birds cosplaying as tiny dinosaurs, hauling themselves toward safety. Predators notice and hesitate, because that fermented diet produces a powerful odor. Manure, compost, bad decisions. Not subtle. Many hunters back off, confused, disgusted. Fragment, survival through being deeply unpleasant, an energy many of us bring to Monday mornings. So the hoatzin remains, unchanged, unbothered, sitting along Amazon rivers, chewing leaves, smelling terrible, raising clawed chicks in plain sight. A bird that didn't evolve forward, it just stopped. And somehow, that worked. A dead tree blinks, slowly, just once. And suddenly the night feels watched. No movement, no sound. Just the unmistakable sense that something has been judging you for a while now. That's the great potoo, Brazil's most convincing argument that reality occasionally gives up. By day, it pretends to be a broken branch. Not a good one, a perfect one. Stiff posture, beak angled skyward, eyes narrowed to slits so thin they almost disappear. Fragment. It doesn't hide, it commits. Up close, the face feels unfinished. Huge eyes, too huge. Cartoon, huge. like a character designed to scare toddlers and insomniacs at the same time. And that mouth, stretching absurdly wide, opening into what looks like a cave with opinions. Fragment. You expect an echo. Life is simple. Sit still all day. No snacks, no stretching. Just patience so intense it borders on spiritual practice. Insects fly past. Birds land nearby. The potoo does nothing. Fragment. Waiting like someone on hold with customer service. 3 hours in. Then night flips the switch. Those massive eyes drink in darkness. The mouth opens, and bugs vanish midair, snapped up with casual precision. No chase, no drama. Just quiet efficiency after 12 hours of being furniture. The payoff is psychological. Predators miss it. Prey never see it coming. Even humans walk right past until the eyes open fully. Fragment. That moment, when a tree suddenly becomes a face, rewires something in your brain. So the great potoo stays where it is. Still, silent, watching. A bird that survives not by being fast or fierce, but by convincing the world it isn't there at all. A tree stump exhales, barely. No flutter, no warning. Just the sense that the forest itself blinked and decided not to explain why. That's the rufous potoo. Smaller than its infamous cousin, warmer in color, and somehow more unsettling. Its feathers look like peeling bark dipped in rust and dust. Not beautiful, not ugly, just wrong enough to pass as debris. Fragment, nature's best background actor. By day, this bird commits to stillness, like it's getting paid by the hour. Perched upright, neck stretched, beak pointed skyward, eyes half-lidded through tiny slits because blinking would ruin everything. Fragment. It doesn't nap. It waits. The kind of waiting that makes time uncomfortable. Life here is a test of patience. No chasing, no hopping around. Just insects buzzing past while the potoo pretends it doesn't exist. Hunger builds, muscles tense. Fragment. Like sitting through a meeting that could have been an email, except the email is alive and flying. Then dusk arrives, and the disguise drops. The eyes open wide, too wide, and that mouth unfolds into something that feels structurally unnecessary. A soft snap, a blur, and a moth is gone. Fragment. Efficient, almost rude. The irony? This bird survives by being overlooked. The predators scan branches for movement, not silence. Prey look for wings, not wood. Humans walk past, confident, until the potoo shifts slightly. That moment when the stump becomes a face sticks with you. Fragment. You don't forget it. You just pretend you do. So the rufous potoo stays exactly where it is. Motionless, patient, blending into rot and shadow. A bird that doesn't flee danger, it bores danger into missing it. And in a forest this crowded, that might be the smartest strategy of all. Something howls from the canopy, deep, hollow, unsettling. Not a monkey, not a mammal at all. The sound hangs there, echoing, like the forest clearing its throat. Then the bird appears, and it looks wrong. Thick-necked, bald-headed, with a face shaped like it was borrowed from a grumpy old man who's disappointed in your life choices. Fragment. The capuchin bird does not ease you into this. Its feathers are plain, almost aggressively boring. Olive brown, soft-edged, nothing flashy, which makes the face worse because there's nowhere else to look. Heavy brow, bare skin, a stare that suggests taxes are due. Fragment. This is not a bird designed for beauty shots. Daily life is a mix of fruit eating and existential dread. It feeds quietly, slowly, moving through the canopy like a thought you can't finish. But the real drama happens during mating season. That's when the sound returns. Males gather, they inflate their throats, and they let loose a call so low and resonant it feels illegal coming from a bird. Fragment, like a bass speaker hidden in leaves. Females listen and judge. Because here's the payoff. The deeper, richer, more unsettling the call, the more attractive the male. Not bright feathers, not dancing, just vocal cords tuned to nightmare. Fragment, dating advice apparently, sound like a haunted cave. Predators hear it too, which should be a problem. But the sound travels weirdly, hard to locate, confusing, directionless. By the time danger figures it out, the bird is already gone. Fragment, survival through acoustic gaslighting, so the capuchin bird remains, plain to look at, impossible to ignore. A bird that skipped color, skipped elegance, and went straight for a psychological impact. In a rainforest full of spectacle, it chose to haunt instead. A flash of blue cuts across the sky, too blue, electric, almost edited. Wings beat once, slow, heavy, and the air itself seems to notice. This is not subtle flight, this is presence. The hyacinth macaw looks like someone maxed out the saturation slider and walked away. Massive body, endless wingspan, feathers the color of deep water and digital error. Fragment, it doesn't blend in, it declares itself. Loudly, visually, emotionally. Up close, the face adds to the confusion. Bare yellow skin around the eyes. A beak that looks less like a tool and more like industrial equipment. That beak can crack palm nuts so hard, most animals don't even bother trying. Fragment. Imagine paying rent with your face and winning every time. Daily life is oddly domestic for something this dramatic. Fly far, eat nuts, preen carefully, sit with a partner, because these birds don't do casual. They pair for life. Decades. Through storms, droughts, habitat loss, everything. Fragment. Commitment issues need not apply. But here's the catch. That oversized beak and bulky body make quick escapes difficult. Flight is powerful, not agile, which means survival depends on something fragile. Old trees, natural cavities, places to nest that take centuries to form. When those disappear, the blue disappears with them. Fragment. Beauty tied to patience, the forest can't rush. And yet, when one lifts off again, slow, deliberate, glowing against green, it feels unreal. Like a living emblem of excess that somehow works. The hyacinth macaw doesn't try to trick the world, it overwhelms it. And for a moment, everything else fades to background noise. A pale blue shape lifts from dry branches, hesitates. And for a second, it feels like you imagined it. The air shimmers. The bird vanishes. Fragment. Like a memory trying not to be remembered. Spix's macaw never looked loud enough for the legend it became. Smaller than its flashier cousins, softer blue, muted, dusty, almost gentle. Fragment, the kind of bird you'd overlook until it was gone. Up close, it's elegant in a quiet way. Long tail, smooth feathers, calm eyes, no neon colors, no spectacle, just restraint. Which, in a rainforest full of visual shouting, is a dangerous strategy. Fragment. This bird didn't advertise. Daily life was simple. Feed along riverbanks, nest in old trees, stay near water in a landscape that doesn't forgive mistakes. Pair tightly, communicate constantly. Fragment. A relationship built on proximity and trust. Because separation here meant death. Then humans arrived. Trees fell, traps appeared. And the very thing that made this bird appealing, its calm nature, worked against it. Easy to capture, easy to remove. Fragment. Politeness punished. Here's the payoff. The wild population collapsed so quietly that people didn't notice until silence replaced wing beats. No dramatic final scene, just absence. The forest kept going. The bird didn't. Fragment, extinction without closure. Today, the blue you're seeing exists because of careful hands and second chances. Breeding, protection, slow reintroduction, fragile hope, fragment. A species learning how to exist again. So when Spix's macaw takes flight now, measured, pale, unreal, it carries more than feathers. It carries a question. In a world that erases gently, what else are we about to miss? The canopy explodes. Branches shudder, leaves scatter, and something enormous drops through green like gravity changed its mind. No warning, just impact, and silence afterward. This is the harpy eagle, and it looks like a myth that learned aerodynamics. Crown of feathers raised like a threat display, eyes locked forward, legs thicker than your wrist, fragment. This bird doesn't enter scenes, it ends them. Up close, it feels unfair. The talons alone are the size of bear claws, curved, black, surgical, built to grab monkeys mid-leap and not let go. Fragment. Imagine commuting to work and being removed from existence by the sky. Daily life is brutal efficiency. Perched high, motionless, watching. The eagle waits hours, sometimes days, for a single mistake below. A sloth shifts. A monkey hesitates. Fragment, one error, one. Then comes the drop. Wings fold, body accelerates. Impact happens so fast the prey doesn't process fear, it just stops. The eagle hauls its weight back into the canopy, meal intact, physics offended. Fragment, strength over elegance, every time. Here's the irony. For something this powerful, survival is fragile. These birds need vast, untouched forest, tall trees, quiet territory, one pair per enormous range. Fragment, a top predator that can't tolerate crowding, like a CEO who refuses open plan offices. And when forests shrink, the harpy doesn't adapt. It doesn't downgrade prey. It doesn't relocate easily. It just disappears. Fragment. Power without flexibility. But when you do see one, perched, massive, watching, it feels unreal, like spotting a dinosaur that decided not to advertise its return. The harpy eagle doesn't dominate the forest loudly. It dominates by being inevitable. And somewhere below, everything knows it. The carcass is already crowded. Heads down, wings hunched, everyone pretending not to look at anyone else. Then the crowd parts. Slowly, respectfully. Fragment, like management just arrived. That's the king vulture, and it looks like it was designed during a dare. White body, black wings, and a head painted. Neon orange, purple, red, yellow. Skin folded and sculpted like melted plastic. Fragment, a bird that absolutely did not ask for subtlety. Up close, the face feels almost ceremonial. Bald, textured, aggressively colorful. Like it's wearing a mask meant for a god, not a scavenger. And yet, that's exactly the point. Fragment. This bird doesn't hide what it is. Daily life revolves around death. Waiting, circling, watching smaller vultures struggle. Because here's the trick. The king vulture often can't open tough carcasses on its own. Its beak is strong, but not first in strong. Fragment. It needs someone else to start the job. But once the body's open, everything changes. The king vulture lands, and the others step back. Not because it's bigger, though it is, but because it dominates socially. Confidence, posture, presence, fragment, office politics, but with entrails. The payoff is biological authority. That outrageous head isn't decoration, it's a signal. Health, strength, status. In the chaos of decay, clarity matters. Fragment. Everyone knows who eats first. And while it feeds on death, the role is vital. Cleaning, recycling, resetting the system so disease doesn't win. Fragment, gross, necessary, perfectly engineered. So the king vulture stands there, painted, unbothered, unreal. A bird that looks like a hallucination, yet holds an ecosystem together by doing the one job no one else wants, and doing it regally. Color detonates through the canopy. Red first, then yellow, then blue. Too loud, too clean, too deliberate. The forest doesn't soften it. It just steps aside. Fragment. This bird refuses to whisper. The scarlet macaw looks like a warning sign that learned how to fly. Fire engine red feathers. Highlighter yellow wings. Blue edges like someone refused to stop layering colors. Fragment. It's what happens when camouflage loses an argument. Up close, the face feels oddly vulnerable. Pale skin, sharp eyes, a beak curved like a question mark that already knows the answer. Loud body, exposed expression. Fragment, confidence with visible nerves. Daily life is noisy, constant calls, screams that echo across rivers and treetops. Because these birds never travel alone. Pairs, small flocks, always checking in. Fragment. The rainforest version of texting. You good? Every 5 minutes. Feeding looks chaotic, but it's calculated. Seeds, nuts, fruits, some toxic to other animals. The macaw handles it by visiting clay banks, eating mineral-rich soil to neutralize poison. Fragment. Yes, this bird eats dirt to survive. Adaptation through chemistry. Here's the payoff. The very brightness that should get it killed doesn't. Predators key in on movement and weakness, not confidence blasting through leaves. The macaw's colors signal health, awareness, a lack of hesitation. Fragment. Looking untouchable can buy you time. But that strategy fails with humans. Bright means valuable. Visible means target. Fragment. Beauty with a price tag. And still, when a pair lifts off together, synchronized, screaming into green, it feels unreal. Like the rainforest briefly turned the saturation up, just to remind you it could. Blue sweeps overhead, then gold flashes underneath, like the sky forgot which direction it was supposed to face. Wings creak, voices carry. Fragment. You hear this bird before you trust what you're seeing. The blue and yellow macaw looks almost polite compared to its scarlet cousin. Cooler colors, cleaner lines, blue like open sky, yellow like ripe fruit. Fragment, balanced, intentional, still impossible to ignore. Up close, the face tells a different story. Bare white skin lined with thin black feathers, like someone doodled emotion directly onto it. Eyes alert, curious, calculating. Fragment. This bird is watching you watch it. Daily life runs on partnership. These macaws pair tightly, flying together, feeding together, arguing loudly in public. Fragment. Think long-term relationship, with wings and zero-volume control. They spend hours cracking nuts with beaks strong enough to snap wood, turning problem-solving into percussion. And here's the strange part. They're smart, uncomfortably so. They learn routines, remember locations, adapt quickly when things change. The fragment, the kind of intelligence that makes captivity especially cruel and escape especially likely. The payoff is social survival. Loud calls keep flocks connected across dense forest. Bright colors help individuals track each other at distance. Everything about this bird says, I belong here, and so do my people. Fragment. Visibility is glue. But again, humans break the pattern. Intelligence makes them desirable. Beauty makes them collectible. Fragment. Traits that work perfectly in the wild fail spectacularly in cages. Still, when a pair banks together, blue above, gold below, voices ripping through air, it feels unreal, like watching two halves of the sky argue, then agree mid-flight. A flash of white tears through green, clean, sharp, almost surgical. No pattern, no shadow, just brightness moving where brightness should not be. Fragment. The forest flinches. The white hawk looks like a mistake in a place built on camouflage. Pure white body, dark wingtips, red eyes that feel personal. Fragment. This bird did not get the memo about blending in. Up close, it's unsettlingly neat. Smooth feathers, slim bill, nothing exaggerated, no flashy crests or oversized talons. Fragment. It's confidence without decoration. The kind that doesn't explain itself. Daily life is precision work, perched high, watching trails, rivers, clearings, anywhere movement betrays itself. When prey appears, the hawk doesn't chase wildly. It drops, direct, calculated. Fragment, one decision, no second guessing. Here's the irony. That blinding whiteness actually works. In harsh tropical light, white feathers vanish against sky glare. Prey looks up and sees nothing but brightness. Fragment, like staring into sun and missing the danger inside it. The payoff is psychological camouflage. Predators expect shadows, darkness, motion, not a clean shape slicing daylight. By the time prey understands, the talons are already there. Fragment, confusion as a weapon. But this strategy demands space, clear lines of sight, intact forest edges. When those vanish, so does the advantage. Fragment, a specialist in a world becoming generic. Still, when the white hawk crosses overhead, silent, glowing, unreal, it feels like seeing a ghost that hunts in daylight. A bird that weaponized purity and made it lethal. A tiny bird snaps into view and immediately starts breaking physics. Sidestep, pause, moonwalk, freeze, fragment. Somewhere, a dance instructor feels personally challenged. This is the wire-tailed manakin. Small, round, and dressed like it lost a bet with a neon sign. Bright red cap, white beard, green body. And then, the tail. Two long, wire-thin feathers trailing behind like accessories from a sci-fi costume department. Fragment, completely unnecessary. Entirely intentional. Up close, it looks harmless. Cutie, button eyes, compact body. Nothing about it suggests chaos. Fragment, that's a lie. Daily life revolves around one thing, performance. Males gather in specific patches of forest and rehearse the same moves over and over. Slide left, jump back, snap wings so fast they make a mechanical sound. Fragment, this is not instinct alone. This is practice. Females watch, quietly, judging everything. Timing, precision, confidence. Because here's the payoff. The best dancer wins. Not the biggest, not the brightest, the one who executes perfectly under pressure. Fragment, talent show rules. No mercy. The wiretail doesn't help flying, doesn't help feeding. It exists purely as visual punctuation, exaggerating motion, turning each jump into a signature move. Fragment, style over survival. That somehow became survival. Predators lurk, mistakes are costly, but the performance continues, because in this world, standing still guarantees nothing. Fragment, you either impress or disappear. So the wire-tailed manakin dances on, tiny, unreal, a bird that turned courtship into choreography, and proved that sometimes the weirdest flex is precision. A black dot flickers through shade, then stops, perfectly still, and the red hits you all at once. Fragment, like a warning light that learned restraint. This is the red-headed manakin. Small, compact, almost modest, until you notice that head. A helmet of pure crimson, sitting on a body so dark it seems to absorb light. Fragment, minimalism with intent. Up close, it feels deliberate. No gradients, no softness, just contrast. Red and black, on and off. Fragment, the rainforest equivalent of a power button. Daily life is quiet until it absolutely isn't. Males gather in tiny arenas, patches of forest floor cleared by time and repetition. Then the movement starts. Sudden hops, sharp turns, micro pauses so precise they feel edited. Fragment, blink and you miss half the routine. There's no chaos here. Every motion is measured, every stop intentional. The bird looks like it's buffering between frames. Jump, freeze, jump. Fragment, a living stop-motion animation. Females watch from the edges, silent, unmoved. Because the payoff isn't color alone, it's control, balance, timing, the ability to perform perfectly while everything else in the forest moves unpredictably. Fragment, grace under pressure, scaled down to grams. Predators are everywhere. One sloppy landing ends the show permanently. And still, the dance continues. Fragment, risk as resume. So the red-headed manakin keeps flashing in and out of view. Red igniting shadow, black swallowing motion, unreal. A bird that turned restraint into spectacle and proved that sometimes the loudest statement is knowing exactly when to stop. Something heavy moves through the undergrowth. Slow, deliberate, unapologetic. Leaves part, twigs snap. And then a face appears that feels unfinished. Fragment, like the forest forgot to render the skin. This is the bare-faced curassow. Large, dark, almost turkey-sized, with glossy black feathers and a face stripped bare, raw skin showing, textured, exposed. Fragment, no feathers to soften the stare, no disguise. Up close, it's unsettling. The bald face glows faintly blue or red depending on mood. Eyes steady, unblinking, fragment. This bird looks like it knows exactly where it is and expects you to move first. Daily life happens mostly on foot. Walking, foraging, picking fruit that drops from above. Heavy body, short flights, fragment, built more like a ground vehicle than an aircraft. Males add drama. They puff their chests, raise curled crests, and release deep, booming calls that roll through the forest floor like distant thunder. Fragment. The sound doesn't match the body. And that's the point. The payoff is authority. That exposed face signals health and dominance. No feathers means nothing to hide behind. In a crowded forest, honesty stands out. Fragment. Vulnerability turned into status. Predators hesitate. Humans don't. Ground-dwelling. Predictable. Easy to target. Fragment. Confidence punished again. And still, the bare-faced curassow keeps walking. Slow, solid, unreal. A bird that gave up ornamentation, exposed everything, and dared the forest to deal with it. A quiet bird steps along a riverbank. Slender, muted, almost forgettable. Long legs, careful movements. Fragment. Nothing about it asks for attention, until it does. The sunbittern looks modest at rest. Brown, gray, softly patterned. The kind of bird your eyes slide past without complaint. Fragment. Background noise with legs. It walks instead of hops. Pauses instead of darts. Patient, almost polite. Daily life is calm. Hunting small fish, insects, crustaceans. Slow steps through shallow water. Head tilts, calculations. Fragment. This bird lives in restraint. No rushing, no showing off. Then danger arrives. A predator too close, a threat misjudged, and the world breaks. The wings explode outward, suddenly massive, revealing blazing eye spots in red, orange, and black. Perfect circles, perfect symmetry. Fragment, not feathers anymore, faces, staring back. Dozens of them. It's not flight, it's theater. The bird hisses, freezes, becomes something larger, louder, unreal. Fragment. A jump scare built out of biology. Predators flinch, hesitate. That pause is everything. Because the sunbittern doesn't fight. It doesn't chase. It simply convinces danger to rethink its life choices. Fragment. Survival by psychological warfare. The payoff is contrast. A bird so understated you forget it exists until it turns into a living illusion. No gradual warning, just before and after. Fragment, calm, and then chaos. And when the wings fold again, the miracle disappears. The bird resumes walking, quiet, unassuming, unreal, like nothing happened, like you imagined the whole thing. The forest settles again, as if nothing strange just happened. Leaves still, water moving, shadows behaving themselves. Fragment, normal returns quickly. But it shouldn't, because once you've seen birds like these, mistakes that learn to survive, illusions that hunt, colors that refuse to apologize, you realize Brazil isn't hiding secrets. It's advertising them, quietly. Fragment, you just weren't looking the right way. Each one solved the same problem differently. Be louder, be stranger. Be invisible until the last second. And none of those solutions feels final. Fragment, they feel temporary, fragile. Some of these birds are already thinning out. Some exist only because someone decided they mattered in time. Others are still out there, watching, waiting, perfectly adapted to a world that keeps changing without asking. Fragment. So when the forest goes quiet, ask yourself this: how many unreal things are still standing just outside your focus, waiting for one wrong blink?